The night is alive with luxury. A grand hall glows under the soft shimmer of chandeliers. The air carries the scent of expensive perfume and fine wine. Every detail of the venue screams wealth: the polished marble floors, the towering glass walls, the golden accents on every surface. Waiters move through the crowd, balancing trays of sparkling champagne. The guests are dressed in designer gowns and tailored suits. Jewelry glints under the lights, a silent display of status. Conversations hum through the room, filled with discussions about business deals, vacations in private islands, and art collections worth millions. Laughter rings out from small groups scattered across the hall. The people here know each other. They have attended similar events before, rubbing elbows with the same elite circle. To them, this is just another night, another party, another chance to flaunt their power and wealth. Near the entrance, a few guests exchange whispers as they glance toward the door. Someone new has arrived, a woman. She is dressed elegantly, yet something about her presence stands out. Some notice her immediately. Others turn their heads casually, pretending not to stare while sneaking curious glances. The music continues, and the event flows as if nothing has changed. But beneath the surface, something is shifting. The guests sense it, a disruption to the usual order of things. And they don't like it. She steps inside, her heels clicking softly against the marble floor. Her posture is straight, her chin lifted, but there's a quiet tension in her shoulders. She knows how these events work. She understands the unspoken rules. She is a black woman in a sea of wealthy elites who look nothing like her. Her dress is stunning, sleek, elegant, and tailored to perfection. A deep shade of midnight blue that shimmers under the lights. She took her time choosing it, knowing that appearances mattered in a place like this. Her makeup is flawless, her hair styled with precision. She carries herself with grace, every step measured and confident. But the glances have already begun. A few people steal quick looks in her direction. Others don't bother hiding their curiosity. Their eyes scan her from head to toe, assessing, judging, wondering. She notices, but she doesn't react. Her invitation came from a friend, one of the few people in this world who saw her for more than just her background. "You belong here just as much as anyone else," the friend had said. She had believed it at the time. Standing here now, surrounded by silent scrutiny, she isn't so sure. She moves toward the main area, keeping her expression neutral. The goal is to blend in, to ignore the stares, to enjoy the night without worrying about those who think she doesn't belong. A waiter passes by and she takes a glass of champagne. The cold bubbles touch her lips as she sips slowly, steadying herself. The whispers have already started. Small, hushed conversations, side glances, quiet laughter. She knows this feeling. She's been in rooms like this before, but tonight she refuses to shrink. The conversations shift. At first it's subtle, just a glance here, a hushed word there, but soon the air changes. "Who is she?" someone murmurs. "I've never seen her before," another voice says. "She must be someone's plus one." A group of women stands near the bar, their eyes flicking toward her before they lean in close, giggling behind delicate hands. A man in a sharp suit takes a sip of his whiskey, smirking. His companion, an older woman in a pearl necklace, tilts her head slightly, scanning the woman with mild curiosity. They don't recognize her. And in their world, not being recognized is the same as not existing. Someone chuckles softly. Maybe she's a new assistant. A different voice joins in, more amused. Or a stylist. These days, they get invited everywhere. The black woman hears it all. The comments aren't loud, but they don't have to be. She's been in rooms like this before. She knows how these people operate. They act polite, smiling in public, but their words drip with quiet cruelty. She doesn't react. Instead, she moves toward a table, placing her glass down carefully. Her hands remain steady, her expression calm. But the whispers don't stop. "Are we sure she was invited? Maybe she snuck in. Wouldn't be the first time." A man in a navy suit laughs under his breath. "You'd think people would know their place." Another chuckle, another glance in her direction. The air is getting heavier. She could walk out now. It would be easy, just turn around, leave before the night gets worse. But she doesn't. She stays, because she belongs here, whether they like it or not. The murmurs don't stop. If anything, they grow bolder. The curiosity turns into amusement, the amusement into something sharper. Then a woman steps forward. She is tall, graceful, and draped in an expensive emerald green gown. Diamonds glint at her neck and wrists. She carries the air of someone who has never been questioned, never been made to feel out of place. Her smile is polite, but her eyes hold something else. She approaches slowly, glass in hand, her heels clicking against the floor. A few guests glance in her direction, sensing that something is about to happen. "Are you lost, dear?" Her voice is smooth, dripping with fake concern. The black woman meets her gaze, unreadable. "No, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." The woman's smile tightens. "Oh, I don't believe we've met before." She waits, as if expecting an introduction, an explanation. The black woman simply tilts her head. "We haven't." For a moment there's silence, a flicker of something, surprise, maybe even irritation, crosses the woman's face. She isn't used to this. People usually scramble to impress her, to justify their presence. She lets out a soft laugh, glancing around as if to include the others in the moment. "Well, it's always interesting to see new faces at these events." Her tone is light, but the meaning is clear. A man nearby smirks. A couple of women exchange glances. The black woman doesn't flinch. She doesn't shrink. She just watches, waiting. The woman in green swirls her drink, then leans in slightly. "So, who brought you here?" It's a test. A way to expose her, to confirm she doesn't belong. The black woman doesn't take the bait. She keeps her voice even. "I was invited." The woman arches an eyebrow, pretending to be impressed. "Oh, how interesting." A few quiet chuckles ripple through the crowd. They are enjoying this. But the black woman doesn't waver. She holds her ground, her expression unreadable. The game has begun. The quiet laughter spreads, the tension in the room thickens, but no one steps in. A man in a navy suit leans toward his friend, just loud enough to be heard. She's probably a staff member who decided to stay after her shift. Another chuckle. A blonde woman in a sleek silver dress tilts her head. Or maybe she's an entertainer. "Are we having a performance tonight?" The words are coated in fake sweetness, but the insult is sharp. The black woman takes a slow breath. She's been here before, in different places, in different ways. People like this enjoy the game. They push, waiting for a reaction, eager to see someone flinch. She refuses to give them the satisfaction. A waiter passes by, and a man casually gestures at him. "Oh, she's not with you?" His voice is filled with mock surprise. "I just assumed." The people closest to them chuckle again. The blonde woman covers her mouth, pretending to stifle a laugh. The black woman exhales slowly, placing her drink on the nearest table. Her fingers brush against the cold glass. The weight of the stairs presses against her skin, but she doesn't lower her head. She lifts her gaze instead. "Is this how you treat all your guests?" Her voice is steady, unwavering. The room shifts. A few people glance at each other, sensing a change in the air. The woman in green lets out a soft, amused sigh. "Oh, come now. No need to be dramatic. We're just curious. It's not often we see new faces at events like these." The words linger, dripping with meaning. The black woman doesn't blink. Maybe that's the problem. For a moment the room stills. The blonde woman narrows her eyes slightly. The man in the navy suit shifts, adjusting his cufflinks. They weren't expecting her to push back. The tension crackles, the laughter dies down. But before anyone can say another word, a new voice cuts through the air. A voice that changes everything. The deep, steady voice silences the room. "Is this how we treat guests now?" The words are calm, but they carry weight, the kind that makes people turn their heads, straighten their posture, and rethink their actions. The crowd parts slightly as a man steps forward. He is tall, effortlessly confident, dressed in a perfectly tailored black suit. His presence alone shifts the energy of the room. People recognize him instantly. He's not just wealthy, he's one of the wealthiest people here. A billionaire, a name that carries influence. And right now, all of his attention is on her. The black woman meets his gaze. There is no pity in his expression, no amusement, only quiet authority. The room is silent. The guests who were laughing moments ago now seem unsure. The woman in green offers a tight smile, trying to regain control of the situation. "Oh, we were just making conversation. Nothing serious." The billionaire doesn't look at her. Instead, he walks up to the black woman, extending a hand with effortless ease. "It's good to see you again." The room stills. The woman in green blinks. The man in the navy suit furrows his brows. The blonde woman's lips part slightly, confusion flickering across her face. The black woman shakes his hand, her expression calm. Likewise. A murmur ripples through the crowd. People exchange glances, trying to piece together what's happening. The billionaire turns to face the room, his gaze sweeping over the guests. I see some of you have already met her. Though I'm sure you didn't know she was one of the most impressive entrepreneurs I've had the pleasure of working with. The shift is instant. Eyes widen. Some guests straighten, their expressions changing from mockery to sudden interest. The woman in green smile falters. Oh, I didn't realize. The billionaire raises an eyebrow. Did you ask? Silence. The black woman stands tall, unshaken, and now the game has changed. The silence in the room is thick. The shift is almost comical. Moments ago they laughed at her. Now they scramble to adjust their expressions, their posture, their attitudes. The billionaire's words linger. One of the most impressive entrepreneurs, a man in a velvet tuxedo, clears his throat, suddenly interested. Oh, what kind of business are you in? His voice is smooth, casual, as if he hadn't just been part of the mocking moments before. The black woman doesn't rush to answer. She lets the weight of the moment settle. Then, in a calm, even tone, she speaks. I own a technology firm. We specialize in AI-driven solutions for businesses. More murmurs. A few guests exchange glances, their curiosity now genuine. They know the industry. They know how much money flows through it. The billionaire smiles. Not just any firm, one of the fastest growing in the sector. She's been featured in multiple business magazines. Some of you might have read about her, if you paid attention to things that actually matter. The last sentence lands heavy. Some guests shift uncomfortably. The woman in green forces a polite laugh, though it sounds thinner now, less confident. She lifts her glass to her lips, taking a delicate sip as if that might mask the awkward tension settling over her. Well, isn't that fascinating? She says, her voice just a little too bright, trying to keep the upper hand. The billionaire doesn't smile. He doesn't soften. He simply turns his head slightly, glancing at her with an expression so controlled, so effortlessly unimpressed that it cuts sharper than any words could. Yes, he says, his voice even, deliberate. It is. He lets the words settle, his gaze sweeping across the room. Then, without raising his tone, without any theatrics, he delivers the blow. And it's a shame, he continues, that instead of welcoming one of the brightest minds in the industry, you all chose to mock her instead. The weight of his words crashes through the room. Silence. The laughter is gone. The smirks have vanished. The guests, who had moments ago been so comfortable in their whispers and quiet jokes, now shift uneasily. Some glance down at their drinks, others glance at each other, waiting for someone to speak, someone to break the tension. The woman in green's fingers tighten slightly around the stem of her glass. Her eyes flicker, as if searching for a response, a way to recover. But there's nothing to say, because the truth is already out, and now, everyone feels it. The blonde woman stares into her drink, her fingers tightening around the delicate stem of the glass. The ice clinks softly as she shifts uncomfortably, her once confident posture shrinking. Just minutes ago she had laughed, certain of her place at the top of the social hierarchy. Now she avoids eye contact, the humiliation settling in. The man in the navy suit exhales sharply, rubbing the back of his neck as if trying to ease the discomfort creeping up his spine. His smirk is gone, his amusement has vanished. He glances around the room, searching for someone to steer the conversation away, to save him from the weight of his own actions. But no one moves, no one speaks. They don't know how to recover, because this wasn't supposed to happen. The billionaire has turned the tables effortlessly, without raising his voice, without making a scene. He didn't need to. His presence alone is enough to shift the air in the room, to force people to reconsider everything they assumed just moments ago. He turns his attention back to the black woman, his expression warm, his tone smooth but direct. I actually wanted to introduce you to a few people tonight. Investors who would be very interested in your work. His words cut through the silence like a blade. The woman in green straightens slightly, her lips parting as if she wants to say something, maybe an apology, maybe an excuse, but nothing comes out. The man in the velvet tuxedo clears his throat again, his previous mockery replaced with intrigue. He sees an opportunity now. But she doesn't need them. The black woman doesn't rush to respond. She doesn't gloat, she simply tilts her head slightly, letting the weight of the moment sink in for everyone else. And then she smiles. Not out of relief, not out of gratitude, but because she was never the one who needed their approval. The guests now see her differently. Their expressions shift from condescension to curiosity, from amusement to interest. The same people who mocked her now wish they had been kinder. Now, they wish they had spoken to her first. But she remains exactly the same, unmoved, unshaken, unchanged. And that is the real power.